Say how he escaped from the firing squad.
Okay, we're lined up. There's a path here, and right adjacent to the path was a long trench to comfort all 9 of us. We're all lined up there. The squad of Koreans, we heard the bushes shake, and here come a squad of Koreans out with their weapons high port, and they come up, got within about 10 feet of us. They halted, and one of the soldiers said, no, one of our soldiers said, no, 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 and I began to say, no, 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 like that, you know. One of their soldiers began to argue with their captain, stood out here to the side, ready to get the ready aim fire. And this soldier arguing with him, that captain walked in front of his own soldiers, walked up to his own soldier, slapped his soldier this way, and slapped him that way about 2 or 3 times. His own soldier leaned around his own captain's hip, fired, and cut the throats of 2 guys standing right beside of me. When he did that, I said, I'm going to make a run for it, Trent. Trent's up there to the edge, next to that ditch. I turned and jumped the grave up on the dirt, almost slid back into the grave. I jumped up on it, and I done a fast traverse. This captain out in front of his men took his revolver and tried to hit me on a fast traverse. Now, that would be like you'd put a balloon on a clothesline on a windy day and let it flop and try to shoot it. Your hand would be going like this, okay? His hand had to be going like that, he's firing by me, and he got off about 2 or 3 shots. I ran and jumped into the river with my hand tied behind my back. High overhang, almost as high as this right here, shielded me from that firing squad. I walked. I didn't fall face in the water. I had to carefully walk the bottom of that across. The water come up here. I don't think it ever covered my whole head, but it did come up around my nose and mouth. But I had my head back like that and waded across the other side. There's some debris washed up, and it's kind of a rut there. And it was long enough that I had to dig my heels in to get up over the bank. I dug my heels in and pushed from one foot to the other and leaned forward, my chest up against the bank, and it was kind of a slant like that because the water always made it a slant.
So was everyone else killed then? Everyone else in the firing squad?
Everybody but Trent. Trent jumped in the ditch. He was right by the irrigation. He jumped in, and they couldn't get a shot off at him because the bank overhang, he went low. I saw him 3 weeks later, and his face was all cut up. He sat by a big guy, and I said, Trent, did George, he said, George Langori was sitting beside, that was the guy's name. He said, me and this guy been together for 3 or 4 days, and we can't agree on nothing. We argue about baseball and everything. I said, did he do this to you? Trent's face was all cut up. And I started scooting towards George, you know. And George said, no, no, Carl. Trent said, no, Carl. I said, Trent, he done this to your face. Carl, he didn't do that. I said, well, then who did? He said, nobody. I said, fella, nobody's face gets cut that deep without somebody cutting them up. He said, Carl, you know the night of the firing squad. He said, I was running in them rocks. I tripped over rocks, and my face was hitting, my hands were behind me, my face was hitting the rocks in front of me, and that's what cut my face up like this. So that calmed me down.
So how long were you a prisoner of war then?
I was a prisoner of war for 3 years.